We're joined now live by ABC political director Rick Klein to talk about all of this. It's been a busy 36 hours, Rick. Let's start with last night's Iowa caucuses. Former President Trump was the clear winner, taking 51% of the Republican vote. What message do you think that sent about his campaign, including a vote here in New Hampshire and Iowa?
Yeah, I mean, this was a resounding victory, historic in every way. 13 points was about as much as anyone ever won Iowa before. He won by about 30. He won 98 of the 99 counties. The only one he lost by a single vote. And I think the breadth of his coalition in cities and suburbs and rural areas, evangelical voters, you name it, he won everywhere. I think that is the kind of way that he hopes to win New Hampshire and beyond. Although, as we know, New Hampshire voters are quite a bit different than Iowa caucus goers. And I think there's still a fighting chance for Nikki Haley in particular to break through over the next 7 days. It's just going to be tough given how popular Donald Trump appears with core Republican voters.
Now, the next big event is the WMUR ABC Republican primary debate this Thursday night, Rick. We know now who's qualified, but only Ron DeSantis has accepted the invitation so far. And now, as you know, Nikki Haley is saying, quote, the next debate I do will either be with Donald Trump or with Joe Biden. So we're wondering, what do you think? Why do you think she's making this decision? How might this affect her campaign?
Well, the Haley campaign knows that Donald Trump is very unlikely to participate in this debate. It is going to be on Nikki Haley to make the decision whether she wants to talk to the voters of New Hampshire in a forum like this. It is up to her and up to her campaign. I know that they are putting it on Donald Trump, but I think she knows what Trump's answer is. And to my view, the idea of not taking an opportunity to talk directly to New Hampshire voters, asking the questions on the mind of people in the Granite State, goes against a longstanding tradition in New Hampshire. ABC and MUR have worked for decades on a debate like this. I think everyone knows that it's likely to be the main event over the next couple of days. So we've informed the campaign. They have until 5 o'clock tonight to make up their minds. And we're still planning on having that debate on Thursday night. We sure hope that Nikki Haley and even Donald Trump, for that matter, join DeSantis on stage and that we have a debate on Thursday night.
All right, you heard it here today. 5 p.m. deadline tonight. Rick, we have 30 seconds left. Last night, some criticism about the Associated Press and news outlets projecting Trump as the winner before some people voted. What was the process for those projections?
Yeah, the networks and the Associated Press also do what are called entrance polls, where people answer questionnaires on the way in with thousands of people across the state. They told us overwhelmingly what the pre-election polls had suggested. So at the time that the state party said that most caucuses would actually be in the voting, the networks made a projection that turned out to be exactly accurate. So we followed the process as we always do, and Donald Trump was the resounding victory as the exit polls or as those entrance polls demonstrated.
And accuracy is key. ABC political director Rick Klein, thank you so much for being with us today.
You bet. Thank you.